back in 1986 when you could be a paranormal investigator and be able to raise a family in a Florida house. Those were the days. Before we get into this video, if you guys want to check out my feature film Pay CD, you can. Links down in the description below. You can also check out our link tree for all of our short films, all of our films, you know, all the stuff that we got in development. Rocky Wake is my big film that I've got in development, so stay tuned for a teaser trailer at the end of this video. I'll have more information on that soon. I say that every single video. Conjuring The Last Rites. Now, Conjuring Last Rites, this is apparently the final film in the Conjuring franchise, and this is a franchise that I've been following for the last decade or so. I've been watching it since the first one came out in theaters. I had one of my fondest theater moments with the first Conjuring film, watching it with my friend and his dad. And the Conjuring films, you know, I've always just looked forward to each one of them. Conjuring 2 was going through a breakup. Remember that fondly. Doesn't matter. I'm married now. I won. And now we have Conjuring Last Rites, which this is the fourth Conjuring installment. It's weird because I do believe that the third Annabelle film sort of feels like, in a way, another Conjuring film, but it kind of feels like a kind of a spin-off Conjuring film. I don't know. It's just me piecing things together over here. Conjuring Last Rites follows Ed and Lorraine Warren as they're investigating the Smurl case. The Smurl case was another case, you know, that they investigated. All the other films, you know, follows the cases. This film doesn't really follow the case as much as the other ones, I will say. Like, this does follow Ed and Lorraine Warren for most of the time, especially their relationship with their daughter and, you know, their daughter's fiance. So there's a lot of family dynamics going on in these films. And that's one thing that I love about the Conjuring films is the family dynamics, because not only do you have Ed and Lorraine Warren in it, and their family and them going through all this stuff, but you also have the families that are going through this supernatural stuff. And it's can sometimes feel heartwarming to see them go through something like this, because whether or not you watch these films and you see them as completely fictitious, or, you know, they're based off of true stories, you know, people have opinions on that, and with it being a theatrical production, you still can't help but sort of, in a way, not necessarily relate to the families, but sort of understand the turmoil that goes on whenever they're going through these things. The Conjuring Last Rites, one thing that I've noticed about the Conjuring films, they're definitely, I think, prestige horror films. I mean, they usually get big budgets. They have long run times. They usually look great. I mean, Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, you know, they're fantastic in their roles. They really embody Ed and Lorraine Warren. I think that they just do a really good job with it. Even if they don't star in a Conjuring film for a while, you know, they still embody these characters, and you can tell that they've lived with them for so long, and they care about these characters deeply. But also Mia Tomlinson, she was great in it. But also Ben Hardy was in this, and Ben Hardy, he's an actor that you don't see a lot of. I loved him in Bohemian Rhapsody, and he's also in X-Men, and he's also in I forget what the firefighter movie is. Can't think of it right now, but yeah, you know, everybody did a great job in this. I enjoyed The Conjuring Last Rites. The only nitpick that I think that I have personally is just not figuring out more about the Smurl family and getting to spend more time with them. But I do understand that this is the final film in the Conjuring franchise, so we're spending a lot of time with Ed and Lorraine Warren, especially at the beginning of the film, which I won't get into any spoilers, but something is set up where it sort of impacts the rest of the narrative going forward. I think that personally, Conjuring Last Rites does, for the most part, everything that it needs to do for a Conjuring film. When I go into a Conjuring film, I know exactly what I'm looking for in a Conjuring film. So there's a few good scares in it. You know, there's some scenes that I could definitely see getting people. I'm a very tough person to scare when it comes to stuff like this. But there's some pretty creepy CGI. And again, the production design in this is great. There's this, with it being set in Pennsylvania and sort of this coal mining town, which we have a few of those near us, it really did feel atmospheric, and it did suck you into the world. It was the coverage was very simplistic, but that's something that doesn't bother me these days, because it's almost expected, especially given, you know, when you're working within a time period, it can get sort of you know, it can get costly. I'm pretty sure. Especially I know with Rocky Wake and stuff. So yeah, but it kind of reminded me, there was specific shots in it. It reminded me a little bit of The Deer Hunter, which is going to be, you know, I mean, that's high praise in itself, you know, when it comes to the production design. But yeah, I enjoyed The Conjuring Last Rites, and it's going to be sad to see these characters go. You know, I'd love to see them return, but, you know, you never know what can happen. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a thumbs up and maybe subscribe. Let me know what your favorite Conjuring film in the Conjuring universe is down in the comments below. Anyway, here's the Rocky Wake teaser. Take it easy, guys. Catch you next time.
How many people have to go missing before law enforcement gets their heads out their asses? How many? Let me ask you something. Do you lose sleep? I mean, do you lay awake at night thinking about everything that goes on in the world around you? To anyone listening right now, we don't need a sheriff that hides behind curtains. We need someone who has a family of their own. Someone who has something to lose, not someone who can lose everything and still live the same life they've been living all these years. Until the monster that's taken everything we love, that's put this town that we've all grown up in despair, until he's caught, you may as well be the monster yourself.